بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب زدني علما.
So the next concept will be getting into OSPF stubs. Now inside the OSPF stubs, we'll be covering around 4 different types of stubs. General stub, and there are some other stubs like totally stub or not so stub like that. So the stub is a kind of one concept, and again in that there are some few enhancements. So the concept of stubs here is going to minimize the size of the routing table. Again, the same thing similar to the summarization, it minimizes the size of the routing table. But again, the summarization has some limitations. So what it is going to do is it's going to inject the default routes instead of external routes. So let's try to understand first the default behavior, and then we'll come back to the stubs here. So in the case of OSPF, generally you have a very big network. Let's say you got hundreds of routers. So the more bigger the size of the network, the more bigger the size of the routing table. And also the database size will be big. So to minimize the size of the database, we are going to configure something called areas here. So the areas is going to minimize the size of the database so that every router is going to maintain the database of only within the same area here. Now, likewise, we also have some external routes. So what I'll do is I'll take a simple scenario here, which says that we got some external routes. Now, these are my external routes coming from redistribution. And assume that we got 200 plus routes. And then we got an area 10, and area 10 have some around 100 plus routes. Area 20 have some 100 plus routes. Area 30 have some 100 plus routes. Assume there are 40 plus networks, and each router have 2 to 3 subnets. So it makes 100. And also we got some area 0, which has 100 plus routes. So if you go back to the routing table and check any one of the router, you will see the routes as O routes. Now this router, any small router, a small 1900 series router, if you go and check the routing table size, it has O routes. The O routes are routes which are coming from the same area within the area. So you'll have some 100 plus routes from the same area. And you have some OA routes coming from a different area, which means the routes coming from here, this area 10, area 20, and then area 0. So 100, 100, 100, 300 routes. And also we got external routes. Now these external routes are coming from the redistribution. So whatever the routes which are redistributed into OSPF, we call them as external routes, typically either E1 or E2 routes. So which means here, let's say we have around 200 plus external routes which are being redistributed. Now, again, you can see the routing table size is very big. As you can see, there are around 600 plus routes. So the more bigger the size of the routing table, the more overhead it will be on the router, the more CPU and the memory resources it is going to consume. So what I want is I want to minimize. To some extent, we did with summarization, to some extent, to continuous, but not for all the routes. So if you want to make it much smaller, especially with these small routers, especially these routers, they have a very low memory and the CPU resources, and maintaining such a big routing tables, it's not an easy job. So you want to minimize it. That can be done with the help of the concept of stubs. So in the case of stubs, what we do is we will be configuring a specific area as a stub. So the concept of stubs here applicable for areas. So which means I'm going to configure this area, any area actually. Let's select this area. I'm going to configure this as a stub area. So which means there is a command to configure that. Now, once you configure that particular area as a stub, now what happens is it is going to replace, or it is going to stop your external routes and replace them with a single default route. Now, what this means is your external routes will come till the border router, and that border router is going to stop those external routes, the LSA files, LSA4 and LSA files normally, that information. And then instead of that, it is going to send out a single default route. Because now what this exactly means is if you go back and see here, if I go from this router point of view, you have the routes, OO routes within the same area, let's say 100. We got an OA routes, which are from a different area, let's say 300. And if you want to go to any external route, E1 or E2 route, you have to go via ABR, right? Because these external routes are not inside the area. So if they're inside the area, that's okay. But these external routes are outside the area. And if you want to go to any external route, you have to go via area border router. So what I'm saying here is, I'm saying that, okay, anyway, to go to any external route, you need to go via border router. Now, what is the point in maintaining each and every external route? So instead, all your 200 plus routes, which are external, which means E1 or E2 routes, they will come up to the border router. And the border router says, I'm going to stop these external routes. Nothing but I'm going to say, the border router says, because this area 30 is a stub, which means, and I am the border router of the area 30, because I'm also belong to area 30. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to stop these external routes passing into area 30. Why? Because this is configured as a stub. So the problem here is when these routes are being stopped, now the problem here will be like, what about the communication process? Because if you just remove these routes from the routing table, it will impact the communication, and that I don't want that to happen. So to make that possible, I'm going to simply inject the default route. So when you configure this area 30 as a stub, it will automatically inject one default route. And that default route is like 0000, and it will be pointing towards a border router, which says that any unknown subnet, which means, let's say I want to go to 15.1.1.1. And if you want to go to 15.1.1.1, you don't have the route in the routing table, but instead you have a default route, which says you go to border router. And then the border router have those specific routes. So the border router will maintain the specific routes. So the routes will stop at the border router, means the border router will have those specific routes. And all your internal routers, internal means inside routers, will just install the default route. So this way, if you check the routing table now, now the same thing, the external routes will come till the border router, and the border router is going to stop these external routes, and it's going to inject the default route. So when you do this practical verification, that will give a more better idea, as we are going to verify with the lab as well. But in terms of verifications, if you check the routing table size of the internal routers, you still see the O routes within the same area, OIA, but instead of external routes, it's going to replace a single default route. So in terms of routing table, if you compare, there are 200 routes are minimized here. So the 200 routes are being reduced and replaced with a single default route. And again, at the end, it's not going to impact the communication. So any external route or all the external routes will be replaced with a single default route. So this is a kind of a basic concept of the stub. We have advanced stubs as well, means the next 3 stubs will cover, that is quite advanced to this or addition to this one. But this is the basic concept. So in terms of basic concepts here, if I quickly summarize the concept of the stub here, like in this case, let's say we got area 0, and this is my area 10, and this is my area 20. So you got some external routes coming from here, let's say E1, E2 routes. So these external routes will come till the border router. So we got the border router. The border router will have the specific routes. And then the border router is going to stop your external routes, the LSFIs. And it is going to replace or advertise to all the internal routers with a single default route. So which means all your internal routers will have a single default route instead of E1, E2. So in terms of routing table, you still see O routes, you still have OIA routes, and then you have a default route instead of E1 and E2 routes. That's what the same thing we have verified here. So this is a concept of stubs. So the stubs will stop the external routes getting into the domain. Like you can see the same thing, external routes will be stopped here, and it's going to inject the default route inside the stub area. So the default route is advertised automatically. So in terms of configuration, again, there is just one single command we need to add. Again, that part we'll see in the configuration. Now, there are some specific rules we need to keep in mind while we are doing the stubs configuration. Like there are few areas which should not be configured as a stub or which will not work as a stub, we can say. So there are three different types of areas. Now, let's say we decided to configure the stub now. We decided to configure stub in our network. And then we have some multiple areas. So we decided that, okay, few areas will configure as a stub. But there are few areas which should not be configured as a stub. So one of them is area 0. So the area 0 cannot be a stub because the simple rule is the stub area should not be the transit. So simple stub means the edge area, and that should not be the transit area. And area 0 will be transit area, right? Because we know the area 0 is a backbone area or a transit area, and all the routes from the area 1 will reach the area 2 through the area 0 or any one router of the area 0, right? So in case if you configure this area 0 as a stub, of course, the command it will not accept, but let's say due to some reason or just for the sake of verification, if you configure this area as 0 as a stub, your external routes will come here and it will stop here. So which means the next area, whatever the next area means area 2 will not receive any routes. In this case, area 2 will not receive any routes. Of course, it will inject the default route. That default route will be injected within the same area. It will not inject next area, okay? So which means the area 2 will not be able to communicate with any of the external routes. So it will stop the communication process. So the area 0 cannot be a stub. That's the first thing. And the second one is, as I can see, the same thing. External routes will stop here. And then, which means that will impact the communication of area 2 with external routes. Now, the area with ASBR cannot be a stub, which means, let's say I got this area 1, and this area 1, I want to configure as a stub, but that is also doing redistribution, that also have some ASBR, which is redistributing some routes from EHRP or RIP or any other protocol. And also it is doing redistribution. So what it will do is this will do the same thing. Again, the stub will stop the external routes, which means your external routes will come and stop here, which means the area 0 and area 2 will not receive those external routes, which means again, it will stop the communication process from area 0 and area 2 reaching the external routes. Because again, as I said, the same rule, that should not be the transit. So whatever the area you configure as a stub, that should not be the transit. That is not possible. Of course, we can do this exception in the NSSA. We'll cover up that. But the default behavior of the stub is it will not allow the external routes to pass through the stub here. So means you should not have an ASBR. That area should not be redistributing any routes. Means any one router should not redistribute the routes. Means you should not have any ASBR. And likewise, there is one more area called virtual area. If you remember, we also discussed the concept of virtual areas. So the virtual area also will become a transit area because it is going to connect area 0 to area 0 virtually. I cannot configure this as a stub. So if you configure this as a stub, the same thing happens. Your external routes will come here and it will stop here. It will not go to other areas. The next area, it will not go. Likewise, if you have external routes on this side, then it will not go to other side. So what a simple rule here, you can see in all the three conditions, whatever the conditions we have seen, all the three here. Now, these three conditions simply says that the stub area should not be the transit area. You cannot make the area, means the area should not be the transit. So here I figured out three rules. So whenever you do the configuration, make sure that the stub area, like in this example, I can make this area as a stub. That will work because that is not a transit area. 0, I cannot do it. Even area 1, I cannot do it because area 0 is having ASBR, matching the second rule. So in my case, in this example, I can do this. Now, same thing here. I cannot, the same example here, you can see here also, I can make this area 2 as a stub. I cannot make area 0 and area 1 as a stub. And the reason, because the area 1 is having an ASBR and the area 0 is a transit area that cannot be a stub. Now, likewise, if you figure out this example here as well, let's say we are configuring the virtual link here. The virtual link. Now, in this case, also, I can make this area 30 as a stub. That will work because this area 30 do not have an ASBR. No ASBR means no redistribution of the routes. And it is not area 0. So there's no area 0 as well. And also there's no virtual link passing through this. So I can make this as area stub, means this area 30 can be a stub. Area 20 I cannot because that is a virtual area. Area 0 you cannot, and area 10 you cannot, because in this case also area 10 is redistributing the routes, which means you have an ASBR here, so you cannot make the area 10 as a stub. So if you see this diagram, there is one area I can make it as a stub. But again, in terms of production network, you might be having many other areas you can, because you might not be redistributing everywhere. You might not, because normally in the case of production designs, if I quickly see the simple example here. So generally you have a hierarchical design. Let's say you got a head office connecting to branch offices, and then you got some small branch offices here. And we got this area 0, the backbone area. Then we got this area 10, area 20, and area 30. So as long as these three, area 10, area 20, and area 30, there is no ASBR, let's say, then I can make it as a stub. Because anyway, this is how the hierarchical design goes. You may have area 40 as well, area 50, like that. So when we design, we don't really design the way, means you will have plenty of areas, and that will make a little bit easier for you to figure out. It means whatever the design you have or whatever the topology you have, you need to simply get back and see these rules and make sure that whatever the area you decide, that is not falling in any of these three categories.